And safety campaigners are urging political parties to address the risk of fires caused by faulty lithium-ion batteries, the kind of thing that are used to charge e-bikes and scooters.
The charity Electrical Safety First says new laws should be a priority for whichever party forms the next government. The campaign is being backed by Scott Peden, whose partner and 2 children died in a fire believed to have been started by a faulty battery, as Tim Muffet reports.
Last June, Scott Peden lost everything. He'd bought a replacement battery online for his e-bike. The following week, a devastating blaze ripped through his home. Cambridgeshire Fire and Rescue Service believes it was caused by the battery. Scott was badly burned and placed in an induced coma for 4 weeks.
My mum and my dad broke the news to me. And yeah, I lost my girlfriend, my son, my daughter and our 2 dogs.
Scott's partner Gemma was 31. Their daughter Lily was 8. Their son Oliver was 4. Lithium-ion batteries contain a large amount of energy in a small space. But this is thermal runaway, demonstrated in a lab. If a cell in a faulty battery heats up uncontrollably, a devastating chain reaction can follow. As the number of fires caused by faulty lithium-ion batteries has risen, calls for tougher safety regulations have grown louder. Manufacturers of batteries and e-bikes can currently self-declare that their products are safe. Campaigners want independent, third-party safety certification to become mandatory. And so does Scott.
It's Tim Muffet reporting. Well, Scott Peden, who we saw in that piece, joins us now on the sofa. Also here is the Technical Director of Electrical Safety First, Martin Allen. Good morning to both of you.
Thank you very much.
Scott, it's nearly a year ago, isn't it, that the terrible fire happened. Just take your time talking to us this morning, but I know how important it is for you to be heard and get your message across. How are you doing a year on?
It's been a very tough year. I obviously spent 2 months in hospital and 6 months living with my mother, and I've been living on my own now for coming up to 3 months. It's been a very hard adjustment, and it's extremely hard getting used to single life and living alone. I just take it day by day as I can.
And you know, the change in the way you live it's huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit, if you can, about what happened a year ago.
Well, it was just a normal day. I needed some dog food, so I had to pop up to Tesco's Express to pick up some dog food. My daughter, always enthusiastic to jump on the back of the electric bike, always wanted to come with me, so I was like, chuck your helmet on and then we'll head to the shop. I was in there for less than 3 or 4 minutes before someone came over and popped the seat on my bike and stole the battery. I needed it for Monday morning for work, so I was in a bit of a panic, and brand new ones were selling for over £600 at the time. And less than a week before payday, I just couldn't afford that, so I just scrimped, saved and begged as many people as I could and managed to scrounge up 300 quid for a second-hand one offline. It said, good runner, all working order, everything that you'd expect to see from something that would be safe to buy. And it arrived on the Monday. Had to get a lift in for work on Monday. My friend used it during the day on Monday, but the first time I put it on charge and it hit a full charge, it just went in the middle of the night. We awoke at 11:45 by an almighty bang. Honestly, it sounded like someone had dropped a bowling ball right next to my head. It woke us all up, and before I could even get out of the bed, I could see the glow of the flames from my bedroom. I got out into the hall, and the flames were coming from the ground floor straight up the stairs and already burning a hole in the roof. I knew within seconds, I knew from there we were trapped in the house. And unfortunately, Gemma was a bit of a big build girl and would not have fit out the window. So I called for help and made the decision I've got to try and get them down the stairs. So I jumped out the window. When I jumped out the window, I smashed my heel in 3 different places. Didn't feel it at the time, but I managed to get back in the house. The bike was just absolutely flaming. It was like a flamethrower. I've never seen flames like it. It was shooting out of the bike, straight up the stairs and straight to the roof. There was bits of metal from where the bike had exploded, jammed in the wall with liquid, literally liquid fire dripping out of it. And I tried to unplug the bike from the wall, but the heat was too intense. And when I tried to open the front door, the handle had got red hot and the key started to warp in my hand. It was literally melting in my hand. I had no choice but to literally run outside and just do what I could. I just called for Gemma to try and jump and just throw me the kids, but unfortunately I never heard from her again. I was too late. By the time I got outside, the smoke was just bellowing out the window.
We're so sorry what you've been through. If people are just switching on their TVs now, we're talking about a fire caused by a faulty battery, and Gemma, your partner, was killed. The 2 children, Lily and Oliver as well, also died in that fire. And was it obvious to you immediately that it was that battery that was the problem, that was the cause of the fire?
As soon as I got into the living room, it was honestly like a flamethrower coming out from the seat of my bike, exactly where the battery was. The charger was on fire where it just exploded as well. It was completely obvious where it was coming from, and the heat was just so intense.
Martin, this is just the most horrific story, isn't it? How unusual is this to happen, and how dangerous might other batteries be?
I mean, sadly, it's not that unusual. It's a growing problem. We've seen a 70% increase in fires in 2023, and that's a continuing problem, about 4 fires a week on average. So it's a really serious concern that we must stop. You saw the devastation to the property, the test that we carried out on a controlled situation. It's horrific to see the flames shooting out of the batteries. You know, these batteries are lithium-ion batteries. The energy stored within a small space is immense. So when there's a fault inside the battery, if it's poor quality in most cases, then that heat build-up transfers to the adjacent cells, and at that point it's unstoppable. You know, Scott said even by unplugging it, it makes no difference at that point. You just need to get out. It's like a large firework going off in the house. You know, the temperatures that when we tested it, it's about 700 degrees C. That's like the inside of a pizza oven. It's just immense. You know, it's a really scary place to be. And then the toxic fumes on top of that, they affect your eyes, your skin, your breathing. You know, it's awful, and that's why we must sort this problem out to protect further people from tragedies like Scott and his family.
So how do we do that, Scott? Because there'll be people watching this morning, you know, who will be charging up batteries for bikes or scooters, or, you know, what do you want to happen?
Well, the only thing I can say to these people, if you have to own one, try not to charge it in your own house. Charge it in a shed, charge it in a garage if you can, but if you have to charge it in your home, do not charge it near an exit. Do not charge it near where you're sleeping, because if you're anywhere near it or it blocks your exit, there's no way of getting out of that house.
Yeah, and in terms of, Martin, in terms of precautions before we get to that point, making sure that the kit that's being sold is not faulty, that is not going to cause fires. Are there things that the politicians can do, that the law can do to make us safer?
Yeah, I mean, we're calling on the next government and all parties actually to work together to bring in urgent safety measures so that batteries that are sold have been tested and confirmed to be safe by a third party. At the moment, we've got manufacturers able to self-certify, self-declare that their products are safe. We believe that needs to stop for these products because of the seriousness of the events that we see. So we want third-party certification for all those batteries to confirm that they are safe before they're placed on the market.
And I imagine you would advise similar precautions in terms of people who are charging these batteries now. What else can people do just to try and make sure that they might be safer?
Well, I mean, if you're thinking of buying a bike, then buy from a reputable manufacturer, a reputable retailer. You know, if you've already got a bike, make sure the charger is compatible with the bike. We see chargers that we've done some testing. We found 60 chargers online that are available. They all failed for fire safety reasons. But if you've got a mismatch between the battery and the charger, it can overdrive the battery, and then you'll lead to, you know, horrific fires that we saw in the videos there.
Yeah, and Scott, I mean, you must go back to that day when you ordered the replacement battery, but I mean, when they're so expensive, brand new, the official ones, you can see why anybody would be tempted to buy a cheaper one.
Yes, they are, and there's nothing stopping the person you've bought it from tampering with the battery, because these things will run and then they'll slowly lose power, and people are modifying them to gain that little extra power to make it like new and selling it on, and they're not being clear enough to say that it's being modified. They're just selling it as a good runner.
And now I know that you want to change things, don't you? You want to work together. How did this conversation between the two of you come about, and how important is that now for you?
Electrical Safety First got in contact with me shortly after I came out of hospital. They've been absolutely amazing, and one of the very few companies that are actually working to make a change. And I'm very enthusiastic for the future with them.
Because you want to do this and make changes.
Yes, yeah.
For Gemma and for Oliver and
yes,
and
I want
Lily,
to I want to save the next person's brother, sister, mother, father, daughter from having to go through what I've gone through. No one should go through what I've gone through.
And how are you doing now physically? We see you've got a crutch. You're still recovering.
I am still recovering. I've got very bad nerve damage on the bottom of my feet where the carpet was on fire. Obviously I said I've broken my heel in 3 different places. I've got burns all up my arms, my back, and some on the back of my neck. And I've also got very bad scarring on my lungs inside, which is causing some health issues at the moment.
From the fumes?
From the lithium gas.
Yeah.
It's all part of the lithium poisoning. If it was just a normal fire, I've been told I would have been out of hospital in 3 days, but it's the lithium poisoning that caused all the issues.
Scott, Martin, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story, and hopefully it will make a difference to people watching this morning. Thank you.
Thank you
Take
very
care.
much.
All the best.
Thank you. Thank you.